Good morning, rock stars. As you know, we have progressed on from our unit of quadratics and we are moving on into our exponential functions unit. So on Monday and Tuesday, you guys have spent the days reviewing your laws of exponents. Like, what does it mean to have like terms and they be raised to a power? What does it mean to have the same variable and it's represented by division? You're all focusing on simplifying expressions with exponents raised to a power. And that's exactly what our next unit is going to be on. So today we're going to focus in modeling real-world situations, your word problems, which are your favorite, involving growth and decay. So when I'm saying growth and decay, I'm talking about values that are increasing and decreasing. So let's go ahead and look at our do now. That's saying the number of people who have heard a rumor often grows exponentially. So this is a new word for us, exponentially. We want to consider a rumor that starts with 3 people and where the number of people who have heard it doubles each day that it spreads. So it starts with 3 people and then the amount of people who hear it is doubling every day, each day. So we want to fill in the table below for the number of people that's being represented by N who knew the rumor after it has spread for a certain amount of days, which is represented by D. So that was a lot of information. Pause the video if you need to and digest all of that. I have the table copied down here, which I do not want to glare for. So I drew it out on my whiteboard. I have D, which again they told me is representing the number of days. And I have N, which is representing the number of people who hear that rumor. So the problem told me, and it's already filled out on your table as well, but it told me that, okay, 3 people knew the rumor from the start, which basically means, like, they started it. This is your starting value. A key word for our starting value? Yes, Brenda, that is your y-intercept. So that's my y-intercept of that function. I know that 0, 3, that's representing the amount of people who heard the rumor, or my y-intercept of a graph. Then on the first day, 6 people now know the rumor. How did they get 6? Oh, if we look back here, we know that it's doubling each day. So 1 day later, I know they multiplied it by 2. So if I want to know how many people are going to hear it after 2 days, well, that should also be, again, multiplying by 2, which will leave me with 12. 3 days later, oh, multiply by 2, that's going to give me 24. 4 days later, okay, same pattern here. It is being multiplied by 2, which will give me 48. And then again, 48 times 2, which will give me 96. So 5 days later, 96 people have now heard that rumor. So now we have our table filled out here. Notice it is going up, it's increasing by multiplying by 2. Whoops, I forgot it there. Every single time. Part B is saying to you, why does it make sense that the number of people who have heard the rumor would grow exponentially? So I just told you guys here, and I emphasized it before, exponentially, that's a new term. Well, it might not be new for some of you, but why does it make sense for it to be represented exponentially? Why can't I say that it's represented linearly by a linear function? And you should use like your y values here, or the number of people who heard the rumor to help you. I know you might be thinking like, oh, every single time it's going up by 2, so why can't it be a linear function? And this is when I would call on someone in the class, and Kwame would probably tell us that, well, notice your pattern here is multiplication. We were multiplying those values. And I know that linear functions are not represented by multiplication. So that can be one of your reasons. Also notice like your values are increasing by substantial numbers here. 5 days later, 96 people now heard the rumor. So exponential functions are always used in order to represent like something that is increasing or decreasing or growing and decaying at a large rate. That's when you use exponential functions. So something like that should be noted for your part B. All right, we're continuing on. We're using the same exact example here. So we'd like to determine the number of people who know the rumor after 20 days. But in order to do that, like, I want to know a formula for this. I basically want to come up with, like, how can I get a formula to represent that? And I know that a lot of you guys might be using guess and check. Like, I can substitute in numbers and just see when the pattern works out that way. Or we can try and, like, analyze, which is definitely what we're going to do. We can analyze the pattern and figure it out that way. So I took some notes on the side of my whiteboard over here, which was D equals 1. So if I were to ask you, Mario, D equals 1, what does that mean in the context of this problem? It definitely does mean that on the first day or on day 1. That's all that's telling me. D equals 1, that's saying on the first day. And we know on the first day, 6 people heard the rumor. Well, how did they get 6? Let's pretend it wasn't there. Oh, they just took 3, the amount of people who knew it, and multiplied it by 2 because it was doubling every single day. So if I wanted to continue that pattern here and look at, like, D equals 2, which yes means day 2, let's just use the same exact setup. I can take this 3 times 2. Like, if I look over here, we just took my last value and we multiplied it by 2. Well, instead of writing like 6 times 2 to get 12, let's use your original value here. Let's just bring this starting value down. So I took that 3 times 2 and I brought it down, and then I multiplied it by 2 because that's representing day 1 essentially, and this is now the doubling for day 2. That's also going to give you 12. If I wanted to continue that same pattern here, D equals 3, or on day 3, well, again, let's use the same pattern. Let's use what we found on day 2. Well, on day 2, we started with the original 3 people, and that doubled, but then that doubled again. Oh, and that doubled again, because this is now representing day 3. Well, that might look awfully confusing, and instead of like hitting 3 times 2, then multiplying that by 2, and multiplying that by 2, let's now apply our rule of exponents. We know that we can write this 2 times 2 times 2 as 2 raised to the 3rd power, and then just bring down that 3, which 2 raised to the 3rd is going to give me 8. And then when I multiply that by 3, that's going to give you 24. Oh, that's exactly what we got on day 3. Let's continue the pattern again. So D equals 4, or on day 4. Let's start with my original. Okay, there was 3 people, and then that doubled for day 1. Oh, that doubled for day 2. That doubled for day 3. That doubled for day 4. Notice, day 4, I have 4 2's there. Well, again, let's not be crazy. Let's represent it using exponents. I can now write this base as 2 raised to the 4th power. And then I'm just bringing that 3 down. And we already know, looking at my table, that this is going to give me 48. So hopefully you guys are seeing the pattern that's coming here. And if you don't, please stop the video, rewind, go back, and break it down for yourselves. Because this is representing an equation here. Notice I have a 3 every single time. Notice I have a base of 2 every single time. Notice what is changing is your power. Here you have it raised to the 4th. Here you have it raised to the 3rd. Here I have it raised to the 2nd, if I wanted to include that. Here, we have it raised to the 1st power. So you have all of your exponents there. That is hinting to you the exact function that you need. So part A is saying to write a formula. Let's write an equation in order to determine the given number of people who know the rumor, n, if you know the amount of days. So we know that 3 people started with the rumor. It told me that. I also know that the rumor was spreading was doubling every single day. So that's going to be my base. Well, if I don't know how many days, if I want to know like 10 days, 1 day, 5 days, 20 days, I'm going to use D to represent that. And then this whole thing is going to be equal to N. Number of people who know the rumor, starting value, or your y-intercept, your multiplier, your base, how are your values changing, and D, the amount of days that you're looking for. So part B is now saying to you, using this formula, how many people would know the rumor after 20 days? Well, this should now become a very straightforward question. You have your equation here. I know that my base is going to be, my y-intercept is 3, my base is 2, but it's saying to me 20 days. That's basically saying to you, hey, D is equal to 20. So I can substitute that in. And at this point, this is a straight calculator question. I don't have my calculator, so I guess I'm going to use the internet for this. So you want to raise 2, be careful of your order of operations. 2 raised to the 20th power. That should be what you're doing first. And then you're multiplying that by 3. Or do it all in one step on your calculator. 3, 1, 4, 5, 7, 2, 8. So 3,145,728 people. That's how many people know the rumor after 20 days, which is straight craziness. Copy down what you need to, and we shall move on. The last part here is saying to you, assuming our equation from above holds, how many days will it take for the number of people knowing the rumor to surpass the population of the United States, which is approximately 315 million people? So now we need to break down, like, what is this question really asking me here? Assuming our equation above holds true. That's basically just saying to you, yes, Sam, that you should be using your equation from above. That's all that means. How many days? Amina, that's telling you, yes, exactly, you should be solving for D. What is D equal to? And then when they're saying to you, when it's going to surpass the population of the United States, or when it's going to be approximately equal to 315 million people, that's basically saying to you, yes, you should be plugging in 315 million people for N. That is what N is going to be equal to here. So you can use guess and check if you want to. You know your formula is N equals 3 times 2 raised to the D. And I want to see when this is equal to 315 million. I want to know what is D equal to. So you can substitute in numbers if you want to. That's good old-fashioned guess and check. You can use your graphing calculator and look at a table of values and tell me when you see 315. Any sort of thing like that. Good luck. The rest of this is yours. I look forward to seeing what you guys get. Please reach out if you have any questions. Have fun!